Welcome, everybody, and thanks for joining us in this webinar, 5 Simple Website Tips to Increase Patient Satisfaction, Fuel Referrals, and Get Paid Faster. My name is Fernando Sosa, and I am the CEO of HaonTech.com. We're an IT consulting company. We provide computer maintenance and network support for private practices. I am a certified HIPAA security professional, a Microsoft partner, Microsoft certified technology specialist, project manager, software developers. I basically help companies with their IT solutions. HaonTech is the name of the company. Worry-Free MD is the name of the webinar series we set up for MGMA members, and this is one of the webinars in the webinar series. Okay, so let's get started with today's webinar. Now, the agenda is the following. So we're going to talk, this is, by the way, the first webinar in the series that's not necessarily HIPAA related. It's more about the business of having a good website, and going to provide you some tips on how to make it better. Now, so we're going to talk about website benefits for private practices. Now, aside from the health, from providing health care to good quality care to patients, having a good website just makes a lot of business sense. And so I'm going to go over some of the benefits that you have, and maybe you don't even notice that you have, but I'm going to make light of that. Then we're going to get into the tips for increasing patient satisfaction, tips for fueling referrals, and tips for getting paid faster. And then we're going to end with a Q&A. Now, during the course of the webinar, if you have any questions, feel free to type them in. On the upper left, you're going to have an Ask a Question button. You can click on that button and type your questions there, and click on Submit. And then at the end of the webinar, I'm going to go over any questions that I received, time permitting, and hopefully I'll answer the questions there. So you can go ahead and type any questions now or anytime that you have a question as I go along the slides. Okay, it's a quick webinar, 30 minutes total, and it's high level for educational purposes. So I'm going to cover a couple of topics related to websites for private practice, and hopefully I'll pick your brain a little bit, and you'll have some questions, some ideas for your practice. Okay, so let's get started. Now, one thing that I wanted to, well, let's get right at it. So here I'm going to talk about the benefits of a private practice website. First of all, it's an opportunity that you have to establish your credibility. Any website, any business website, it's an opportunity to establish credibility. It's not just about putting pictures about yourself, your practice, your doctors. It's really a place where, depending on the content that you put there, you have an opportunity to tell your prospects who you are and establish credibility and promote yourself. It's a way for your clients to research, or your potential clients to research you before they go to the office or before they set up an appointment. So the content that you put on your website, if you have that in mind, that it's a way for your clients to learn more about you. Many times I've seen websites that touch that at the high level, but they can go a little bit deeper. So like me as a patient, or I'm looking for a website, I have the general questions, but then I might want to know a little bit more. And sometimes I'm just left with a lot of questions when I see a website. And I think that it will help if the content that you put on your website actually goes deeper and allows your clients to actually learn more about you, about the practice. It's a way to generate traffic. That's a great benefit for your practice, because once you have a website in place, it's really publicly available on the internet, and if it's properly set up with search engine optimization, that's a technical term I'm not going to get into, but if it's properly set up, then it appears on the search engines like Google, Bing, etc. It appears not only on it could appear on the first page of those search results if somebody types medical practice or different keywords in your area, in your city or your area. So it's a great way to generate leads that way that you may not and you may not even come up with, but just because it's out there, if it has the right keywords, you can generate traffic and referrals that way. So that's a great benefit. It doesn't cost much. It's also a great way to maintain ongoing communication. with your patients. And this is key, and I'm going to touch on this in the webinar. Ongoing communication is very important. It's just like any business, communicating with your clients is key. It's not just about the transaction. In the case of private practice, it's not just about providing the quality care. It's also about taking care of them as a person in terms of you running your business. You want to make sure that your business not just takes care of patients, but that runs properly as a business, efficiently, makes money, etc. And ongoing communication is very easy to do with a website properly set up. Many websites out there, maybe yours, it's just a one-way communication where you just present information and that's about it. And sometimes the information is not even really updated as often or doesn't have that depth of information that I spoke about before. So the properly set up website will be a way to communicate ongoing with your patients. There's very little overhead in time and money to have a properly set up website. The website, the benefit that you will reap will be far more advantageous than what it's going to cost you in time and money. Once the website is set up properly, there's a lot of automation that could take place, and I'm going to talk about automation in the next couple of slides. So these are the benefits that I have listed. There's many more benefits, and you can probably have some that you have in mind. Now, one thing that I want to bring to light is urgent care. I have a slide here about urgent care. Now, you may have noticed urgent care offices are popping up all over the place. And it's important for you to understand, you may be in urgent care on the webinar, and that's fine, that's good. If you're not, if there's something that you want to pay attention to. Urgent care is raising the standards, or raising the bar in terms of how they're doing business. It's not just about, like I said, quality care. It's also about running the practice as a business and being able to efficiently get paid, efficiently take care of patients quicker, and generate more business. So they're doing a lot of good things in that area, and I want to just mention that because as a traditional private practices, you need to really look into how the industry is changing and what the expectations are, how the expectations of the patients are changing once they see things like this happening on other providers' offices or other institutions. Just a brief example, like Wi-Fi. Many years ago, Wi-Fi in the private practices was unheard of, but as technology advances, now it's pretty common practice to have Wi-Fi, free Wi-Fi in your waiting room. It just makes sense. The technology is available, it's very easy, simple, and it doesn't cost much. So if you have patients waiting in your office for 30, 40 minutes, an hour, why not, provide them that customer service of allowing them to have Wi-Fi access? It might not be important to you, but it is important to a lot of patients, and this is becoming the industry. It is the industry standard. So that's just an example. And urgent care is paying attention to these types of things that are business related, not necessarily patient focused, but they are doing that, of course. But in terms of running your business, you have to think about that. And this webinar, of course, is about the website tips, which is good. And so you want to keep that in mind. The way they're advertising themselves is that they're addressing the wait time, and again, this is urgent care, so it might not be applicable to specialties and that sort of thing. But in terms of the business, what they're focusing on, everybody should pay attention to that. Okay, so all right, so website automation is key. Okay, automate. That's the key thing. You want a website that it doesn't generate more work for you. You really want to have something in place that does whatever it is that you have it set up to do on an ongoing basis, 24/7. The website really runs 24/7. It's up online, your office is closed, your website is still there. And if it's properly set up, it's doing what it's supposed to be doing at all hours, right? Now, again, if you don't think about it that way, you just have a website that has a picture of some verbiage and that's it. It's really not going to do much for a patient that's in the middle of the night browsing and looking for something. So you have to think about more, and that's what we're going to talk about, how to automate certain things that you want to get done on your website. Most of the things are fast and easy to implement. It's low cost and low maintenance. And once the website is properly set up, it requires little or no technical experience to get it running on an ongoing basis. The system is set up once, and it really goes on autopilot. So that's what you really want. You want a website that's automated in terms of what you set up, and it really runs on autopilot. Very little maintenance. So some tips, I just want to get into the tips here, but I remind you, if you have some questions or anything on your mind, feel free to type it in on the Q&A, and I'll answer it a little at the end of the webinar. So tips to increase patient satisfaction. Now, the key thing here is you want to minimize wait time and communicate more with your patient. Over and over, you're going to hear that. You want to minimize wait time and communicate more. That's been the complaint that I've heard regarding private practices, is the wait time and the lack of communication. And this has to do, if you think about it, it has nothing to do with patient care. It's more of a business sense. And this is really applicable to any type of business. So as a covered entity, you want to pay attention to that because you are running a business, and these are important for you to understand as well. Minimize the wait time and communicate more with patients. So how can your website help in this? Well, appointment setting. I have listed your appointment setting, appointment reminders. I have follow-ups, life events. For example, on your website, you can have forms that are for appointments. And again, there's ways to do this without getting into HIPAA hot water. But if you can minimize wait time by having appointments set up and appointments set up in advance, and appointment reminders sent, okay? Follow-ups after an appointment. Somebody goes home and there's a follow-up automatically generated from your website to that patient. Life events. For example, you have a family that goes to your practice, or even if it's just one person that goes to your practice, and that person goes to your practice on an annual basis. Well, you know this in advance. So you know the person's birthday, you probably have that information. You have maybe you know when the person got married, anniversary, or they're having a baby. Those type of life events, you can use that information to send some type of communication to them during the course of the year. The point is that you don't just want to touch them in terms of marketing. You don't want to touch them just when they're in your office. You want to keep ongoing communication with them, just like any business. And of course, they can opt out to any of this. But the point is that this is becoming the standard. And in order to stay in business and be competitive with the other businesses that are doing this, you want to set yourself on top and be first and be better. So you want to stay on top of mind with your patients and follow up, schedule checkups based on age, symptoms, and conditions. Again, the idea is you have a patient, you know their age, you know the symptoms or condition that they have, so you can technically have something set up that automatically sends them the resources, information relevant to a condition that they have. Nothing related with their medical record or anything that's going to be a HIPAA problem, a problem with HIPAA. But the idea is that you can schedule this so this happens automatically. So once you have this properly set up with your website, that's something that is going to keep on maintaining ongoing communication and it's going to add a lot of value to your patients. The appointment setting and appointment reminders is actually a no-brainer. You could spend time having somebody make phone calls or send out postcards via mail, but that costs money and time. This could be done automatically on your website, okay? And you can save time there, and the patients appreciate that. They get it on their phone, they're getting on the tablet, so they get the information, and they can respond electronically as well. So that type of thing is something that helps patients, and they appreciate that, okay? So those are tips in terms of patient satisfaction. How do you fuel referrals? How do you get more patients? Well, here's some ideas. Social media, video tips, email marketing, referral programs. These are some tips here and suggestions. So the key thing is you have to kind of tap into what other industries are doing and adjust them to your industry. Social media, obviously you want to think about privacy issues, but the social media, you have to use it in a way that it's proper. Social media can be used to post. You have a Facebook account, a Twitter account, or one other social media account. Post messages that are articles, briefs, something interesting that your patients or your target audience would be interested in. Video tips. You can have somebody in your office record with your phone a video, a 2-minute video, a health tip, something related to the season, or allergy tips, something that you will record. Celebrities do this all the time. I'm not going to mention a famous doctor celebrity, but you can do that as well. It's very simple. It doesn't cost anything. You record those videos, you post it on Facebook. All of a sudden, you start seeing people liking it, and that's how you build referrals. You build traffic. You build awareness of your practice. Very simple idea, and it doesn't really require much. It's not very technical either. Email marketing. On your website, you can make it where people can sign up for your email, sign up for a newsletter, or sign up for anything that you want to offer. And once you have that in place, your website can also be used to send out emails as the email marketing campaign. And that's one thing that you can do. And it could be very simple. It could be more elaborate. But the basics is that on your website, you can collect email addresses, have a sign-up form, and that will be the first step for the email marketing, is to collect the email addresses as an opt-in. Referral program is very important because you have to really ask to get the referral. You can probably get a referral without asking. If somebody's very happy and they just talk about it. But when you ask for the referral, that grows exponentially because now you're asking, and if the person is happy, the patient is happy, then of course, why not? Again, it depends on your specialty and what exactly, it really depends. But asking, preparing a referral program, you can have a page on your website where you detail the referral program. Maybe you have a perk, like a gift item, a gift card that you might give away, a coffee, or something, or movies. It really doesn't matter. It's just a thank you, and that's something that is commonly done in different industries, and it could be done in your industry as well. Is to have a referral program. And that's automatically, you have it set up on your website, and people will go to that website. Of course, you'll direct them via email. You send them, by the way, sign up, look at our referral program. It can be on your invoices, a link to your referral program. You can put it on your emails, on your letterhead, on your email signature. So once you have a referral program in place, that's just one of the many things that you can do to fuel referrals. So that's some of the tips on referrals. Now, going back to the video tips, I just want to revisit that. It's very simple to create some tips with your smartphone. You record yourself. The biggest obstacle is just if you're not used to it, doing or recording yourself, but maybe you have staff that has no problem doing that. Or maybe you don't need a staff member to, maybe you can have somebody else to do that, or do it as a paid service, then then it costs you money. But it's something that you can do. You can do it for free, and you can set it up and put it up on the social media site, and very easy to get referrals that way. Okay. Now, tips to getting paid faster. Now, getting paid is something a common problem for any business. Is you want to get paid fast, right? You provide the service and you want to get paid fast. Now, the problem with the practices, you want to make sure, have this bullet here that says you want to reduce all the friction in the payment process. So you want to make sure that the payment process is smooth as possible. Any step of making a payment that requires extra effort on the customer's part is likely a source of payment delay. It could be the excuse to making a late payment, or just not paying at all. So you want to look into your process of getting paid right now and reduce any areas that could be improved. And you know for sure that the cost of collecting co-payments after the fact it can be nearly as much as the amount of the copay itself. If you don't charge for your copay right away, then the copay itself is going to be less than the amount it's going to cost you to send out mail, to make phone calls, to even if you have to go to collection, it costs you more than the copay. So that right there, is a big problem. And so you want to see if you can make that better, right? And so how can the website help in that aspect? Well, you can set up automated online billing. You can subscribe to online billing services for that, and that takes away a big load in terms of getting paid. You can set up upfront copays while they wait. Think about this concept. People are waiting in the waiting room. Why not have them pay while they wait? On their smartphone, they can pick up their smartphone, go to your website, and through their online billing, make a payment right there and there while they're sitting down. That's just an option. You provide them many options, so they can either stand up, go to the desk and pay, or do it online, or it's different options. So it's just the idea. This might not work for you, but maybe it does work, or maybe you can customize it so it can work for you. So that's just an idea of co-payment. This paying upfront is done all the time in the hospital when they're in the ER. Sometimes even before they receive the service, they have to pay. So that's common. It's becoming more and more common. So if you're in your office and you're not paying, you're not getting your co-payment before they see the doctor, this is one way to get paid faster or get paid at all, is to do it up front as soon as possible, make it quick, easy, and if you can set up your website to take payments that way, even the better. Automatic billing. Obviously, if you have their credit card on file, you can have a form where you're authorized to deduct it from their to charge it on their card. That can be done on your website or a third-party service, and that's one way to eliminate the problem of now having money to pay right there. Automatic billing. One idea is to improve your cash flow is to provide discounts on prepayment. Here's a concept. Again, you have a family or a person that does a yearly visit. Maybe this person does twice a year visit or whatever it is, and maybe this person has a family of three kids or spouse. Maybe they all go and visit your practice. So you know that this family is going to visit your practice so many times a year. What about this concept? Provide a discount and they can prepay for the year. And that's like an amount of money that's there. You have it, so it improves your cash flow in advance, right? Obviously, it's discounted, but it doesn't matter. It improves your cash flow. And obviously, if the amount is bigger, it's just a credit to them. They have to put more money, but that's money. The point is the idea of breaking the mold in terms of how you're getting paid. You have to be smarter of how you're getting paid and see what can work. This could all be This could all be done via a website, and it's more about generating. It's more about creating an idea, and then you have to implement it. So this is just an idea that I'm throwing out you. Email reminders, obviously, if you're trying to get paid and you're sending a postal mail. How many postcards you're sending, about how many invoices you send, if they don't pay. It costs money. Why not send them a reminder, an email reminder, or even a text message? Those are all things that could be automated on a daily basis, every 2 days, every 3 days. You can set the schedule of how automated it is, and that's one way to obviously, if you don't do nothing like this, obviously it's going to be harder to get paid on time, and your collections, your accounts receivable is going to be, affected by that. So there's just one other way. Now, text messaging, of course, everybody has a cell phone or smartphone. They're getting text messages. That's another way to and again, it's common practice. Other businesses are doing, other service providers are doing it right now. So it's no different with the medical division. You can still do that. Again, the only concern is that I can just alert you is just to be careful with the types of messages that you put out, and you want to make sure that everything is HIPAA compliant. And you can ask your IT provider in terms of that. So the bottom line is your website can be a powerful tool. Okay, it's not just a site that you put a picture and your address and your phone number. It could be a tool for your business. And number one, you want to establish your credibility as a medical practice and a business. Okay, so it's not just about healthcare. It's also about the business. So it's a way to establish your credibility. It's also a place where you can communicate more with your patients. It's very important, the communication, to communicate more with your patients. And finally, it's important. The patient experience is just as important as the quality of care. That's something that I hope I nailed and I explained enough. The patient experience is just as important as the quality of care. Okay? So those are three things that I think is the bottom line in terms of this. Again, if you have some questions, go ahead and type them in, and I will go ahead and try to answer them. Now, I know that I gave you tons of tips. I said 5 simple tips, but I really gave you more than 5. So what you really want to do is pick 5 that are simplest to you, because they're not all simple. Some of them depends on some of them might be simple to some other, it's not the same. Somebody might say one is simple, the other one is simple. So out of all the tips that I gave you, pick the one that is simplest to you and just get started. Your website could be a little bit more than what it is now, most likely. Here are some examples that I think are simple for me, but maybe some other ones are simpler to you. Referral program is very simple. Set up a web page. Say to your patients, we appreciate your referral. You appreciate, you put up a verbiage. As a token of appreciation, here's we're going to give you a Starbucks card or something, whatever you want, or even something maybe that you have from your something else that you can give away, and have that set up where they can fill it out online, the referral, and that's something automated. Appointment setting and reminders, I think that's critical, and that should be done regardless. You have to have an automated way to remind people about the appointment. The way about sending postcards or sending snail mail, it's really outdated. It still works. Obviously, not everything is for everybody, but you definitely want to look into having reminders sent out electronically, and appointment setting as well, or some type of you can customize that. Online bill pay, you want to get into that right away. Online bill pay, you can link it from your website to a third-party service provider. Maybe your medical billing company has this service for you, but the point is you want to have a function where your patients can pay online. Feedbacks and surveys is something that is simple as well. Is basically you want to ask, is the communication, is a two-way communication. So you want to ask your patients about their visit, how was their visit, how can you improve, et cetera, et cetera. And so that allows them to communicate back to you. And with that feedback, it will help you improve your practice. Life events is very important as well. You want to take, right now you have your patients, a lot about them. So use that information and to send them information back in terms of what has happened in their life, and let them know that you care, not just once when they visit you, but you want them to come back and to refer their family and friends to you. Those are, I think, simple tips that I think are very simple to implement right away. I'll open it up for questions again. Thank you very much for sticking at the end. If you have any questions, please type them in. And I see that we're going into the half-an-hour mark. I have one question here. Any questions while I look up the question here? Please type it in. I have one question that, how does the IT vendor, IT provider do add these services to the website? Well, the question is, who implements these changes on the website if you want to do these things to your website? Well, it could be your IT vendor if they do websites, or it could be just a web designer or somebody. If you don't have a website, you can search for an IT vendor that does that. I can definitely help you with that. HaonTech does that for you as well. So if you have questions about that, feel free to reach out to me, send me an email, call me, or visit the website. I can definitely help you with the website, improving your website or adding a website if you don't already have one. So again, it doesn't have to be of somebody that's just an IT provider, but we do websites as well. Okay, so I'm not seeing any more questions here, so I'm going to wrap it up as I'm hitting the 30-minute mark. So thank you very much again. My name is Fernando Sosa. If you have any further questions, feel free to reach out. There's my contact information on the screen. So thank you very much.